Frederica snuck in. Big shock to nobody. 86 is finally back, thankfully. Unfortunately, again, we're going to have another delay next week, so keep that in mind. Episode 20 will be 2 weeks from now, but we got episode 19, and I'm super happy. Definitely was starting to crave this show sometime this week. I'm like, gosh, I'm missing something, so really happy to have it back. But what's interesting enough is that this episode kind of opened things up a little bit. We kind of are making things not as simple as just take out Kiri. Because my speculation started building in myself that Kiri would be like the first. That Kiri would be the original, I guess, harvested, and that taking him out might possibly throw the entire Legion into chaos. And not having this one central shepherd, I guess. But no, it seems like there's this no-face that is going to be, I guess, the central point. Or at least the command of what he calls himself, Pale Rider. But yes, opening up this episode, we have them riding in on this huge low ground surface gliding jet, and at some point they have a huge front of Legion, so Greth decides to kick them out of the plane and lure the Legion away so they can get in closer to the target. And we have this whole little kind of brief moment of, oh no, Greth's in trouble. Thankfully, she pops up later. But this is the interesting point, because this is where we get a cut over to Ernst and the command center, and we almost get that point where Ernst literally presses the nuke button to take everybody out. Because as everybody's kind of seen that this is a failed mission, we should, shoot some missiles over there and flee or whatever. He's like, no. What would you do then? Like, what is the next step? You're just going to abandon everybody that you sent out there? Again, bringing in his own way of seeing the world, that if we're willing to cut off ties with those that we sent in there and just flee just for our own safety, that is not morally correct, and we should just rather be destroyed. His whole vantage point is that if we fail this mission and we sacrifice everybody, I'm taking you all down. This is done. We're done because we can no longer go. Yeah, he pretty much says, you elected me, and now if you think I'm wrong, you're coming down with the ship. Like, you're going to die here. So we essentially get that Ernst is not just all talk. Like, he at this point looked like he was just willing to just tear everything down. Like, you did exactly what I didn't want you to do. You sent these children out there, and now you're fleeing with your tail between your legs. I'm gonna destroy everything. But no, thankfully, the comms come through. Shin and his guys are still out there. They go into the target, where they find this big, gigantic centipede-looking thing. They go to attack it. It goes to fire back at them, but then it shuts down. And this is where we kind of find out through, I guess, the speculation of one of the men inside the command center, that this is essentially a shell. That once this thing was destroyed, once the Morpho was destroyed, or at least hampered, they just took the core out and put it into a spare. Rather than repairing this one thing, it was a lot more efficient for them to, once this is destroyed, take out the core, put it in this other one, and continue on. So as they're there, Frederica yells that they need to get out of there. Shin realizes it, they go out, and this big, huge bolt of explosion I really like how this was kind of put together, because it has a whole thing where obviously this thing is building up in the distance, and it fires in, but as it's firing in, or at least as its impact is coming, like all the lights light up, and then they just shatter. It was really cool. Really visually awesome episode. But now realizing that they had a decoy, Shin goes after Morpho, and as he's on the way there, we do get a cut over to kind of see the entire thing play out from Kiri's perspective, where Kiri is telling No-Face, this command or whatever, that the target's gone. They have their own code name for Shin, and he's like, he's done. He's been destroyed. No-Face is asking for him to confirm it, and then that's when they realize, no, he's not done. He's right there in front of me, and No-Face tells Kiri to leave. Like, you need to retreat out of there. And this is the interesting point, because there's two things playing out here. One is Kiri's, drive. Oh, I see this symbol on this machine. He's obviously one of the Nosing clan. He's just like me. All we know is Battlefield, and he really has this desire to take him down. But not only that, but No-Face the command is telling Kiri, Pale Rider, to get out of there. Leave this to your escorts and leave. No-Face tells Kiri or Pale Rider one very interesting thing. Well, first he's talking about how, at that distance he has an advantage, but two, you can destroy him with your cannon, as if that's a bad thing. Like, you cannot do this because one, he has an advantage, and two, your cannon will destroy him. So it's implying very heavily at this point that No-Face wants Shin. Unless this is some weird translation issue, it's plain saying that Shin cannot die. We cannot have him die. That you're flawed in not following orders, you're at a disadvantage, and your cannon will kill him. It's very interesting. I don't know if it's implying that with Shin's brother, they seen this great potential in him, but then he died, and now they want Shin because Shin is the same blood. Maybe they want the Nozen clan because they're special in some way. Perhaps they know that he can hear the voices, and so they want that power to use against the humans. Because it also has Kiri point out the fact that he wasn't able to tell that a sleeping unit was there. So they're already kind of trying to figure out how he can hear them and how it works. But I really like this scene because obviously you have Shin going after Kiri, which honestly at this point I'm kind of getting tired of derpy face, creepy looking Shin guy constantly rushing after something. I hope that they get something figured out there. I know it's the whole battle hungry aspect, the battle craziness, but I can only see him running towards a target without anything else and everybody yelling at him to respond and him not respond before it's like, okay, we gotta do something with this. But it's really cool how they had Kiri was like, you know, overly obsessed with killing Shin. They're telling him, No-Face is telling him to retreat. He's not listening to orders. And at some point it has like that whole glitched framed of facial expressions and it just kind of instantly changes to a normal tone and then he leaves. I don't know if it's implying that No-Face was able to like cut in and reset him or something, or if he just finally came to a realization and came to his senses to leave. As it shows Kiri leaving, again, it acknowledges the fact that Shin has this symbol for the Nozen clan on his machine. And yes, his only place is on the battlefield, just like him. But not only that, but it shows him recalling all these scenes of, you know, the whole everything that happened with Frederica. We see some picture of her and him together when they were still together, enjoying things together, him helping her struggle with certain things, her at the throne, then eventually her death. And then he claims that he's going to take everything from Shin, like as if I went through this experience and I'm going to make you go through it as well. Which I kind of hope that something comes of this. Like we find out why exactly he's so obsessed with other Nozen clans and why he would want Shin to go through that. Again, you can maybe kind of chop it up as it being the warp's nature of being within the Legion. But it just seems like he's very obsessed with Shin and trying to make him go through the same experience as he did. This cuts to us having this conversation between Shin and, I don't know who this guy was. He was the guy that was in the command center. He apparently knows Greth, that they actually fought on the battlefield together. He apparently is the one that gave her nickname for the battlefield, which is kind of a reference to her going to her husband's funeral, or at least his her fiance's funeral, in her wedding dress because they missed that date. But he's talking with Shin. They're talking about the fact they can't give them any support because they're too far ahead and they can't keep up with them. But obviously Shin's like, that's fine. And then we get the bonk noise. To shock to nobody, Frederica's inside of Fido. Big shock. Nobody seen that one coming. But they didn't really play around with it very long, as they pretty much say, all right, you're going back. Fido can take you back. Oh, we can't do that. Well, Raiden will take you back. So they have to go back through the enemy lines just to get her out of there because she was so wanting to be there with them. But she claims her reason for being there is to essentially tell them their mission. That their mission is to go back alive. And they cannot fail that mission. And that she really doesn't like the fact that they are so willing to be the 86 still. She's like, you're not there anymore, but you're still acting like you're a part of the 86 and that you need to die on the battlefield. You don't have to do that. And Shin, being as sweethearted as he is and very, very good with words, decides to give Frederica his pistol so that if they get caught, she can use it on herself. He's so charming, just a charming young man. And this is probably me looking way too much into it, but for some reason the line about it being too heavy to carry for a young maiden or something like that, like her, it's like, was that meant to be a double meaning? Was that really supposed to be as simple as, oh, it's too heavy, I'm gonna give it back to you? Yes, technically it's her saying, come back alive so I can give it back to you because it's too heavy, because she wants him to come back alive. But it's also maybe a thing of, this is the pistol that he uses to send off all of his comrades, to prevent them from being harvested. And she knows that this is the thing that ended Eugene and ended so many others, and that is a weight that she cannot carry. It's probably translated that way, and it's probably not that meaning in Japan, but from my perspective, it definitely has that kind of meaning. This is too heavy. I can't carry this. You've been carrying this all along. I can't carry that. But yes, overall, excellent episode. Great animation. Love a lot of the use of the CGI again here. They just do a really incredible job of really kind of blending it in with the world. Nothing really kind of feels like it sits out. The cannon fire from the Morpho was just epic. I love how they portray that kind of that boom, that effect, again, the lights that kind of shatter, just the explosion effect in the middle of the night. All that stuff was really well put together. Getting a little more visual perspective from Kitty's side, getting that little kind of insight into this No-Face, which I think they've mentioned before. I think they mentioned No-Face before. I'm trying to remember exactly where it was at. And again, still nothing from Lena's side. I'm just really kind of wondering at this point. We technically still have 4 episodes because this show is so far behind at this point. So we have something to work with. I honestly didn't think that they were going to drag out this Morpho fight. The moment that Morpho retreated, I was actually shocked because I'm like, whoa, they're going to just really kind of drag this out, aren't they? So it does give them a solid full episode to still take down Morpho, but at the same time, we then still have, probably 2 or 3 episodes to really work with Lena's side of things. But at this point, this far in, unless my theory is correct that Lena is going to be harvested because, again, technically San Magnolia is occupied, unless suddenly out of nowhere Lena pops up inside of a Legion and he hears her voice, I don't see the two of them coming to a connection anytime soon. Unless, again, Lena was able to fight back at the Legion in San Magnolia, she's regathered herself, she got that transmission about them going after Morpho, and she sends her team in, and they communicate that way. So it could still happen. It's just kind of unlikely at this point it's going to be them coming together without the Legion involved in some way. But that's my thoughts on episode 19. It's been a long time. 2 full weeks is a pain to wait. And we have 2 more weeks to wait for the next episode. So I hope you guys will join me when that time comes around. I definitely appreciate you guys checking out this video. If you like this video, hit that like button down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon or through our tips link in the description below. And we definitely appreciate everybody that does. And y'all take care.